time is here. The Sun and its Decepticon army rule supreme!
Welcome back to the Titanium Hangar. This is Mike. Today I'm coming at you with the Threezero MDLX. Is the mini deluxe version of the G2 Megatron. Now this is their G1 stylized Megatron repainted to G2 colors, and I don't really know if they've remolded anything. This is my first time looking at a Threezero MDLX figure. Now I did look at their Voltron, thought that was a great Voltron, and they did do a lot of good things with that. So I'm going to take a look at this, and they actually did some interesting stuff with this guy. A little stuff that surprised me on this, but we're going to talk about this. This does not transform. I want to get that out there, but there are good reasons to have some characters that don't transform. We're going to talk about this. I did get this to ShowZ. I'll have a link down below where you can get yours. But let's get into looking at this MDLX G2 repaint of Megatron coming up. So here it is in the box, and you can see that it's got a window box, window packaging. You get to see the figure that's in there. And it's very, very G2 stylized, but it's not the same, doesn't have the same dimensions. Obviously, it should be more of a rectangle, but the writing is the same as they had on the G2, which is really kind of cool that they did that. And the fact that it's officially licensed, so they can use, well, pretty much exactly the same font and everything that they had on the G2 one, but of course different style of packaging, but very reminiscent. Looks really cool. Quite interesting that they did this. So yeah, kind of fun. I really wasn't expecting that. I hadn't seen the package online or any pictures or anything until I got it in hand. All right, here he is out of the box, but before we get into the figure, let's get into the accessories, because we need to accessorize Megatron. He comes with some accessories here. Now, the hands he comes with are fists that I just popped off. Nice to know those will be easy to pop on and off. But I want to get his cannon on. There's a few things that I'm understanding you could do with this situation. And all right, you can reconfigure it by pulling that off and then putting this onto here. And that's a thing that you can do. So I'm not sure if that's going to match something better. And then I don't know. It's definitely would just want to go a standard route and put this on like that. That's how I want mine. And I definitely want this on his back. That's just to me. Now, the regular G2 I don't think really has this. This is more of a carryover from the G1 type of version that they have. But let's get this added to the figure. There we go. There's a slot in the back right here. And then there's this tab, so tab that in. So we've got that feature. It's not shipped already attached, which is fine. It's not a big deal. And then we've got some tabs right here, and it needs to go into the slots in the arms. The real simple stuff. Simple, basic stuff. We got that in there. And then I don't know if I want fists. I do like these hands. So we have these fists, and they kind of go in and out and all around because they're ball jointed. Let's give them a grasping hand here. He doesn't really have to hold anything, so let's give him his grasping hand, which that's not going on as easy as the other one. All right, that was easier to do off camera. Now, I do want to say these are all, I believe these are all painted, and looking at the hole in there, if you can see it, it looks like that hole has paint in it, so you're probably going to wear a little of that paint off to put them on there, which is, it is what it is. I'm glad that it's painted, though, because it looks really nice. But let's get this pointer finger on there. So the first time it's going to be a little bit rough. Definitely something you want to do off camera and paying attention to what you got going on. So we've got a pointer finger, or he's saying that Mike is number one. I'll take that. And then we have two more additional kind of grasping hands. He's not really going to be holding anything, but it's, I guess, just a look. But yeah, kind of cool. Let's get in and take a look at this guy, do articulation and comparisons and all that. All right, so looking at him, he is based on the original G2 color scheme, but he doesn't 100% have the G2 body style, which is fine. It's cool. Good use of a repaint. And I thought it was, when I first saw this, I thought, man, that's cool. I want that. Because I'm not really too into the G2 stuff, but have a representation of it with this color scheme, I think is a whole lot of fun. And that is awesome. And I had a G2 Megatron a long time ago. I actually sold it off. I kind of went super G1. I didn't even want the G2 stuff. But the color scheme I always thought was interesting, and I liked it. It did turn into a tank, so you kind of had this front of a tank as a chest, which we don't see here. Would have been kind of nice if there was a way that they could have incorporated that, maybe you clipped on the tank part or something. But that's not something that they did. Still just trying to do a repaint, pay homage to G2. Now, with that, he has a silver head, and that's kind of cool. But I don't think that really matches the G2 aesthetic 100%, just the molding of it. But it's okay, it's cool. This whole thing is stylized, though, so nothing's really going to match a G1 or G2 exactly. It's just kind of paying homage either way. Then you got some silver accents here. You've got this, obviously, it's green with painted stripes, and you got a lot of line work, so every one of these little lines is painted in. So start to wonder, like, why is this thing $135? And you start looking at all of the detailed paintwork and line work. So I could kind of see that they're shooting with a bunch more paint apps than the average kind of figure would get. And yeah, it's non-transformable. That's a thing. You have silver in here surrounding this whole shoulder piece area. Some silver down here, some orange. So quite a bit of breakup of different colors going on. And then I do believe all of this is painted. All this purple is painted. This down here all feels like it's painted. Now I don't feel any die cast in it though. I did expect some die cast in this, which I don't know why, but I never had one of these before, so it's my first one. Had a little bit of expectation of at least the feet or something. So it feels like it's all plastic, but that's still okay to really take away from the look, especially if every surface is painted. Some orange here, some green. Very interesting breakup to it. What's going on right there? And then the feet. And yeah, it's kind of cool. We'll get into articulation here in just a bit. From the back, he has a lot of paint on the back. So it's not like they cheaped out on the back either. So that's another part of the price point, because they all have to get shot with the paint in different sides. So that's interesting too. So really cool looking. A whole lot of stuff going on with them. Again, a very stylized take on a Megatron, not looking super G1. But yes, like I said, paying homage. This looks almost like it might be... Probably isn't, but it almost looks like it's translucent. That side doesn't look translucent at all. This almost looks translucent. And this does look like something could plug into it. It does look like something could still plug into that. But anyway, pretty cool looking stuff. Overall, good looking figure. Let's get into articulation. Head, side to side, up and down, pretty much ball joint. Oddly, they only gave you one head. So with the shoulder, you have a whole apparatus of moving out. The shoulder pad can move around. But so you can get some range like that. It's not, so there's more to this than just on a ball joint or something. 360 going on. You have a bicep swivel at the bicep. You have double jointed elbow, so you can do a lot of stuff. And hand, we already went over that, but it is on a ball joint, but it's on a dog bone, I believe. So you can actually get more out of it. And yeah, I knock it off because I'm going too far with it, but I'm trying to see the extreme range you can go with this. But yeah, it's a little bit more range on a hand. Side to side on the waist, you have, so not really an ab crunch, it's more of a mid ab crunch, which is fine. It's fine. It doesn't actually move at the waist. It moves up here, which is good. Which means, I bet you it's got movement, yeah, a little bit of movement on a ball joint up there. So that's pretty cool. And you could get back a little bit. So that's cool too. All right. And of course the waist swivel. Moving these out of the way here. Go out to here. Now there's no ratchet, but it holds. And let's see. Can we get him to hold on his own? Yeah. He can hold that. Hold that kick pose. Well, he did. He was. Till I moved him. Yeah, I can hold that kick pose. That's good. So that's, I think that's pretty solid quality right there. Thigh swivel. Squeaky. And I think I knocked the hip flap off. These tiny, they use really tiny ball joints, which, I don't know, is that a sign of premiumness? Double jointed knee. So this is where I think a knee that is no breakup, really at all. That is the way to do a knee, I believe. That's really good. Double jointed goes all the way. Kick his own rear. And then you got really tight feet, and there's multiple jointed foot, and you can go up and down, and you can get a lot of range out of that. So decent articulation, but there are some characters, like I want to see them, well, they probably already did RC, but I want to see a Super G1 RC, because some characters need this non-transforming to match and not have much kibble. All right, so let's get a comparison. If you're looking at this, you're going to say this is a masterpiece. Obviously, a masterpiece Megatron would be taller. If this was a G2 one in masterpiece scale, it would be bigger and be a tank and all that kind of stuff. So this is sort of paying homage, but still kind of cool, kind of getting an idea of where would this fit in your collection. Right here is next to the YOLO Park version of Megatron, a G1 Megatron. That looks very G1. And YOLO Park's taller, so it is shorter than the YOLO Park. So this is why I pick one of these up, so that I have a little bit more idea of how all this stuff's going to work and how this looks together. I personally love what YOLO Park's doing because they're going super G1 look to it. This is very stylized take, but it's still kind of fun to have something mixed in, like a G2 mixed in with your G1 set. But these will be on the same shelf for me. This is MP10V, which was a KO down scale. So usually there's like the KO upscales or the KO oversized, the KO undersized. And that scale sort of works. Megatron's still supposed to be taller than Prime. They are making their Prime in real G1S colors. So I have that coming also, because Prime always sells. We're going to talk about that. But here we go. Let's get into some other stuff. And I think this works well with your Hasbro mainline stuff. So you could work this in to your Hasbro mainline stuff. And I think scale-wise, it would look good. Aesthetically, I think it'd still be fine aesthetically. Just it's way different. It's because it's so stylized and it's covered in paint head to toe instead of just a handful of accents like you get with the Hasbro stuff. But it's kind of cool. I do want to show one more thing about it. Has that G2 tampograph, like the G2 look tampograph that's showing up. Hard to get that to focus. Thought that was kind of cool. But yeah, one more interesting thing about the figure. All right, so that's my look at the Threezero G2 Megatron, and it's the MDLX line, the Mini Deluxe, and I think it looks pretty cool. I think it is very interesting. It is stylized. It does not transform, and it's going to fill a void in a shelf. I mean, I don't have hardly any G2 stuff anymore, and to have a modern representation in G2 colors, color scheme, I think that looks pretty cool. I'm more in for the Ultra G1 stuff. The stylized stuff, it's kind of fun to accent your collection with it. This one is supposed to be a limited release, meaning I figured it would sell out real fast, and then you'd be wanting to get it on secondary market for crazy money. So I picked one up to check it out. This is my first one to check out. I think it's cool. I wish it had some die cast in it, and that was just something that was an expectation of mine, but it doesn't. I couldn't find any die cast in it anywhere, but it really didn't take away from the fact it still has a bit of heft and weight to it, even though it's plastic, but it's solid. It is a pretty solid figure. It's got great articulations. I was a little surprised about how they did the tiny little ball joints on the hands and the dog bone, but once you kind of, I guess, wear some of that paint off and pop it on there, they hold really well. So I think it's a good figure overall. This probably isn't for everybody. $136 price point for this guy, but it is kind of cool. And when it sells out, it's going to be really hard to track down. So if you're interested in this, I suggest to get it pretty quick. Now I do have a link to get it as shows you. You can put TH reviewer code in there if you want to help the channel, but it's one of those things. It's either going to be people are going to love it or they're just going to pass. But I think it's pretty cool and it's interesting homage to G2. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Like and subscribe, and Threezero, hang out.